Good morning. This is Stacy, and welcome to Chargers Talk 4630, your home where we have honest takes, fresh analysis, uncomfortable conversations, and all things Chargers football. It's a brisk Monday morning here in New Jersey with the temperature reaching a high of 57, but currently at 43 degrees. It's a blessing to be here, a blessing to be seen, and a blessing to be heard. Thank you for all the listeners who tunes in wherever you listen to your podcast, and know that I appreciate you. And don't forget, if you're joining the conversation online, make sure you tag it, hashtag Chargers Talk 4630, so I can see your takes and shout some of you out in the next episode. And please like, share, and subscribe to help our podcast continue to grow. Now, look, I started doing my football picks this week, and let's take a look at the final scores and see how I did. The Chargers played Thursday night, of course, knocking off the Vikings by the blowout score of 37-10. And Sunday's games was bananas. Some was very exciting. Some came with surprises. Some teams handled their business. Others got punched in the mouth. And a couple of underdogs made big statements. So let's go over the final scores. The Dolphins, they were one of the surprising stories yesterday, knocking off the Atlanta Falcons by a score of 34-10. Just a disappointing loss for the Falcons as they fall to 3-4. No Lamar Jackson, no problem. Tyler Huntley, Derrick Henry, and the Ravens defense took care of the Bears 30-16 as the Ravens get back in the win column. The biggest upset of the day is the Jets. They orchestrated a great second-half comeback to get Aaron Glenn his first win as the head coach of the Jets, 39-38. Cincinnati falls to 3-5. Now, here was my upset pick of the week, and it was on point. The Texans knocked off the 49ers 26-15. The Bills steamrolled over the Panthers 40-9. The Patriots outlasted the Browns despite 5 sacks by Myles Garrett, 32-23. The Eagles set the tone right from the door with a 65-yard run by Saquon Barkley, and he never looked back by taking down the Giants 38-20. And what made matters worse, losing Cam Scatterbo to the season with a dislocated ankle. The Denver Broncos destroyed the Dallas Cowboys 44-24. The Colts demolished the Titans 38-14. The Packers made it look easy against the Steelers as Aaron Rodgers failed to be the first to defeat every team in the National Football League. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers handled the Saints with ease. Now, the Chiefs host the Commanders tonight, and I picked the Chiefs to win that game, although I'm hoping for an upset. But with all the injuries to Washington, that appears to be a tall task to ask. So I want 8 out of 12 picks, and we'll see what happens in tonight's game. Either I will be 8-5 or 9-4, depending on the results of the game tonight, right? So I think that was pretty good for my first week of picks. So we're officially at the halfway point of the season, and the Chargers are sitting at 5-3 after that dominant win over Minnesota Thursday night, but the momentum's building, and we're going to break it all down right here. So let's get into it. The first half of the season was filled with ups and downs and a few tense moments, but at the end of the day, this team is right where it needs to be, in position to make a serious push in the second half of the year. So today, I want to take a step back and do a full midseason check-in, right? We're going to look at what's gone right, what still needs work, how injuries are shaping things, and what it'll take for the Chargers to stay in the AFC playoff picture. So let's get into it. The Chargers came out strong, looking solid early in the season, right? Got a win against every team in their division, which was huge, but then hit a stretch where things just didn't go their way. A few close games that slipped away, a couple of tough breaks with injuries, and just some inconsistent stretches that kept them from really taking off and creating some space in the AFC West. But the thing about this team that I like, they didn't fold. Every time it feels like they're on the ropes, they bounce back. That 37-10 win over Minnesota might have been the most complete game we've seen all season. The offense looked balanced, the defense was flying around, and the energy just felt different. When the Chargers play that kind of football, smart, physical, and aggressive, they can go toe-to-toe with anybody in the league. Now let's talk about one of the biggest storylines of the first half, injuries, right? It's been one of those years where it feels like every week someone's getting banged up. But the good news this time around is that some of the recent updates are more positive than we expected. Starting with Derwin James. He went down with an ankle injury, and of course, when you see him limping off, everyone holds their breath. But the reports came back with some good news. There was no structural damage, and the team believe he might not miss any time. And that's massive because Derwin James, not just one of the best players on the team, he's the emotional leader, the guy who brings that fire to the defense every week. And then you have Taheeb Still. He's been such a bright spot this season. The second-year corner has really shown he belongs, right? Good instincts, solid tackling, and he's held up well in coverage against some tough matchups. Unfortunately, he's now dealing with a sprained MCL and could miss 2 to 4 weeks. Now, that's a blow, but hopefully he's back before December because when he's right, He's been a difference maker. And last, Tony Jefferson, the veteran presence in that secondary. He's now battling a hamstring injury. The team's taking it week to week, but that's another guy whose leadership and experience is so valuable for the young DBs. And the Chargers secondary has been tested this season, but give credit to that coaching staff and those backups, they've held their ground. On offense, Keenan Allen continues to be the model consistency, right? He's been the heartbeat of this group, still running crisp routes, still moving the chains, and still leading by example. And that takes me right into Ladd McConkey. He's a dynamic receiver known for his speed and big playability who could stretch the field and create separation just as good as any receiver in the National Football League. Hey guys, I got to put you on to something I've been checking out. It's a company called Distill Union. They make these slick minimalistic wallets and magnetic key organizers, right? That just makes life easier. And get this, I've got an exclusive 20% off just for you. All you got to do is go to DistillUnion.com, make your purchase, and don't forget, when you check out, use my code ChargeTalk4630. I earn a small commission when you use my code, so when you buy, you're not only supporting me and the show, you're getting the best deal they offer. And one of the biggest positives we've seen is Quentin Johnston. You can see it this season. In his third year, he has settled in. You can see the chemistry growing between him and Justin Herbert. The Chargers are getting him involved more creatively with slants, quick outs, even a few deep shots, and his confidence is building. And one of the biggest surprises is the emerging star rookie tight end, Oronde Gadsden. He is a big, physical, and athletic tight end known for his ability to make contested catches, run good routes, especially for someone his size, getting separation, and is a red zone threat. The former wide receiver, now tight end, is turning heads around the league with his big play. Now, from a coaching standpoint, there's been some improvement, especially these last few games, right? The offense is showing more balance. They're using tempo, moving Herbert around, allowing him to do more off-script plays and spreading the ball to different guys, right? You could tell the game plan has more rhythm when they start fast. Defensively, this group is playing more disciplined. They're tackling better. They're forcing turnovers, and they're doing a much better job than early in the season by limiting the big plays. Now, the big question is, can they sustain it? That's really been the theme of the season so far, right? Consistency. When this team locks in and plays their style of football for 4 quarters, they can dominate games. The challenge is stringing that together for 4 quarters, week after week. All right, now let's take a quick look at where things stand in the AFC West. The Chargers are sitting here at 5-3, and they're right in the thick of it. Denver appears to be developing as a tough team to deal with as they have a 1-game lead. Kansas City is coming on, no surprise there, but the gap isn't huge. This division is wide open, and it is a 3-team race between the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Chiefs. And the key stretch is coming up. These next few weeks in November will tell us a lot. You got divisional matchups and a couple of tough AFC opponents that'll test this team's depth and their discipline. But the reality is this: the Chargers is a team that still controls its own destiny. It's so huge that they have a win against all of its AFC West opponents. Just start stacking wins, keep improving each week, and by December, you're not just talking about the playoffs. You're talking about possibly making a run at the division. So we admit, the first half of the season has not been perfect, but there's a lot to like. The defense is improving. The offense is getting healthier. Justin Herbert looks more comfortable behind a line that's able to buy him a little bit more time in the pocket, thanks to Joe Alt. And hopefully, Mekhi Becton can stay healthy down the stretch, which we need so desperately. And even Trey Harris, he's getting more opportunities and starting to come up with big plays in critical moments. His blocking has been exceptional, which is giving him more opportunities to make plays in this offense. So now here's the biggest thing. Finish strong, stay healthy, stay locked in, and don't let up. If they can carry this momentum into the second half, there's no reason this team can't make a real playoff push. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this midseason recap edition of Chargers Talk 4630. I appreciate you all for tuning in and riding with me each week. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I appreciate all the support. Hit that follow, share the pod, and let's keep this conversation going. Bolt up, everybody, and let's finish this season strong.